All right, welcome to GolfWRX's 2024 Best Irons list. I am pleasantly, or I guess I'm pleasantly happy that Drew from Second Swing is joining me today. We are going to break down the 2024 Best Iron list. We've got 6 categories. Basically, how we do this every year is we poll fitters across the whole country, and fitters, like Second Swing. And I know some people, if you don't know much about Second Swing, or you basically only remember them from the days of maybe selling secondhand equipment, they are far different now. So, Drew, tell us a little about it. You guys have a ton of locations. You guys do everything from some great deals on some used clubs to brand new equipment to fittings to custom made little small batch runs. I mean, you guys are doing it all, which is pretty wild.
Yeah. It's been awesome to kind of see how things have evolved in my 5.5 years with Second Swing. It's been you're right in that it was pretty much specializing used clubs. I think when I started we were selling new, and the club fitting aspect of things was definitely in play, but certainly not what it is now. And so now we've got we have 2 stores here in the Twin Cities. We've got one down in Scottsdale, which is humongous, by the way. It's like over 30,000 square feet. There is one that opened up in 2023 in just north of Dallas in the Colony, Texas. And then we've got Wilmington, Delaware, sort of by the Philly area, and then Columbia, Maryland, sort of right there in between Washington, D.C. and Baltimore. So and it's been awesome to see those stores kind of each really find a place in the market, so to speak, of those areas, and it's been awesome. So you're right, lots of different things besides used clubs nowadays.
Yep, and one of those big things is fitting, and you guys are doing a ton of fittings.
Mm-hmm.
I know you were just saying how you were talking to some of the fitters before we jumped on here, and you guys are just absolutely slammed, with fitting, fitting after fitting today, and that's just kind of how it is. It's kind of part of the season right now. Everybody's getting excited for the new gear, and everybody sees the season starting soon. So you got to get in, get fit, get dialed in, and have the game ready for when spring and summer hit.
Yeah, and here in Minnesota is just now courses are back to reopening. We had a couple periods in February or March where it might have opened for, maybe a weekend or something like that, but I think, fingers crossed, we're sort of turning that corner here, and the courses are now just opening.
Well, our headquarters in Detroit, so we're about the same. So we're, same thing. We had a nice little run in February, and now we're just kind of waiting for, for the season to really start. But hopefully the weather will be breaking here shortly. But yeah, best irons, like I said. So what we do is, we could basically go out and we talk to fitters across the country, from all over the place. Every demographic, whatever. I mean, we try to get as many fitters as we can on this, and we basically ask for fitters' input on kind of the 6 different categories we have for irons, and ask them what they're what irons are fitting people into, what they're seeing success with, and that's how we do this. So we're going to start off. We've got 6 categories. The first one is going to be just best overall. So basically just an overall iron. What are you seeing, kind of the most, what are you seeing success in the fittings? What are you seeing customers respond to really well? And this can be anything from a blade to a super game improvement iron. So we can kind of put anything in here, and I think there's a little bit of a mix, but we're going to start with this. And Drew, I mean, we'll start off at the top of this list here. Best overall, the Srixon ZX5 Mark II. I think Srixon irons over the past couple of years have been, actually probably the past, 7 years, have been absolutely phenomenal. I love the ZX Mark V. I think it's a great blend of that forgiveness and that great look that a player likes, reduced offset. But it's a really solid overall iron that I think you'll see a scratch player play, and you'll see, a 15 to 20 handicap player play. It's just really versatile.
Yeah, I think the great thing about the ZX Mark, the Mark II series as a whole, but specifically the ZX5 is what you mentioned, is just how versatile it is, and players that might have low or even scratch handicaps are looking at that iron and they love the look of it. It can be, you can play it as even a longer iron in your bag, or it even looks good enough to play as a whole set for those players. And then you of course get the forgiveness, you get the technology, as say the rebound frame in there, and some of their tech in the VT sole as well has been really well responded to, off of for the turf interaction piece too.
Yep, definitely. Especially for us northern guys who play in a little softer conditions. That VT that Tour V sole is just really really solid. And like I said, the turf interaction is phenomenal with that iron. The next one on the list we move to I think it's kind of the grandfather of the hollow body filled iron, the TaylorMade P790. What are your thoughts on that one?
That one, I mean, geez, every single year, it's one of the favorites in that category, if not the favorite. And over the testing that we've done, it's almost, because there's some varying lofts in that kind of play resistance category. You kind of get anything from really 29 to sort of 31 degrees in there on the 7-iron. And, P790 isn't always the strongest lofted. In fact, I don't think it has really ever been the strongest lofted, but it's always the furthest and has the most ball speed. And it's so kudos to them for sort of developing the technology with speed foam and then speed foam air. Just consistency on the ball speed is just phenomenal.
Yeah, and then this year especially too, kind of how they showed off how each iron is individually designed to make sure that the center of gravity, all that is kind of perfect for each iron. But also, I think my favorite thing about that iron is that it's extremely forgiving. It's long, it's straight, but when you look down at it, it doesn't look like a really big club. Like they've really streamlined the size of it, and I think they make it where if you're a player who needs that help, needs a little distance, you need those things, but you don't want to look down at a club that just isn't attractive to your eye. They've managed to really make a good package packed with all that technology you mentioned. And a player feels good. You feel confident standing over that club knowing that it just looks good. You're going to hit it well. And if you don't have a great swing, you're still going to be okay. And to me, that's kind of, for me, this latest version of the 790, that's kind of my favorite thing about it.
Yeah, totally. It's been very well received in the bays.
Yep. And then we move on to something kind of a little bit smaller in this best overall category. The title is T150. This was actually my gamer set for pretty much all of 2023. I nicknamed it kind of the cheater set. A guy like me who's clinging on to that 8-9 handicap. You can look down at a player's iron. It's small, it's thin, but you get a bunch of tech. You get a little distance. You get a little forgiveness. You get good feel. It's one of those that I don't have to have my best game to still hit those really well.
Yeah, the T150, great. I mean, I think it was kind of, we were all waiting for this from Titleist in the sense that the T100S and the T100, there was maybe some confusion out there about what the differences were and where they belonged with each other and how much different they were. And so I think for us as fitters here at Second Swing, it was really cool to see them sort of differentiate them in just a little bit different technology. Obviously, the loft was different before. A couple of different things internally were different, but now there's a size difference as well, and it kind of fits right in there between the T100 and T200. And because of that, I think it's gotten just a ton of interest.
Yeah, I mean, when you see a guy like Will Zalatoris put it in play on tour, and then you can go to the local Muni and see me hacking around the course with it. It's a pretty versatile club, and it's going to fit a wide range of players. So they kind of nailed that one. I think with the market on that one, I think they hit just a nice sweet spot with that iron. And then we move on to, I know we mentioned the ZX5, the first iron here, but now the Srixon ZX7 Mark II, so kind of the other sibling of that lineup. But yeah, how do you feel about the ZX7?
Yeah, I mean, similar to what I said about the ZX5 Mark II. It's just, I think the Srixon, and I remember last year with sort of the Members' Choice, Srixon got a ton of love for the irons as well. And I mean, there's good reason for it. They're super they're super forgiving in that for a player's kind of shape, there's a lot of performance packed into the ZX7 model of the Mark II series, but really good look, really good feel, very clean through the turf. There's nothing that you could complain about with this iron.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the ZX7 Mark II, I mean, for the better player, I mean, like you said, you get a little bit of everything. I like, too, that I know over the years, with Srixon models, the 745 was just a cult classic. People, were trying to buy a second set from, a Second Swing to have as a backup. And then, they got into some irons that people kind of either didn't love the shape, whatever. I think this one here, they kind of revised it a little bit. It's a little longer heel to toe, but it doesn't look like it. It doesn't look kind of disproportionate. And honestly, the feel is about as soft as you're going to get with a forged iron. And it's still kind of amazing to me, especially talking with fitters of kind of how under the radar Srixon still is with irons, over the past couple of years. They talk to customers when they come in and they hand them the iron and they kind of go, what is this? It's amazing that people haven't really caught on to how good the Srixon irons are. But the ZX7s, the feel-wise are absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, they're awesome. I mean, all the way across the board. Check all the boxes.
Yep. And then for the best overall, the final iron in this category is, again, one that, from talking to fitters, people are really high on, but the Mizuno Pro 245. This one here, kind of a revision from the 225, but I think, again, with cosmetics like the P790, I think Mizuno kind of nailed the cosmetics with this one. When you first pulled it out of the box, I felt like it was a hard time deciphering which was the 241, which was the 245.
Right,
if they would have put no logo on it, they had a really similar look. And yes, it's a little bigger, it's got a touch more offset, but for being, again, a hollow body iron, multi-piece, Mizuno nailed the feel. When you hit it, you're going to know it's a Mizuno. It's soft, it's responsive, it's solid. But the 245, I think they did a really good job of just making it a little bit better than the 225.
I think so too. And one of the things that we noticed in the testing as well was it seems like the 245 also actually spins a little bit more and more consistently than the 225. And I think that's something that our fitters have kind of been wanting for a long time in that category, is it seems like too often there are players' distance irons that don't have enough spin or don't generate enough spin for a large category of the golfers out there. And so to see something that will spin more and more consistently, keep the ball in the air, give you that descent angle and that landing angle that you need to kind of hold the greens. So really, really good work by Mizuno with these ones.
Yep. So that is the best overall category, which again can kind of encompass anything. We leave it kind of open. And again, the rundown there, the Srixon ZX5 Mark II, TaylorMade's P790, the Titleist T150, Srixon ZX7 Mark II, and the Mizuno Pro 245.